Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Eli Nishmas the Kedoshim. I guess it's a big day for the neshamas from the Shoah over here. Memory of my Bubbe, Bracha Bas Hersh Dovid on her 77th Yartzeit was murdered by the Nazis on her arrival at Auschwitz, Birkenau, along with her 5 children, 1 grandchild. By her grandchildren, Beverly Fink, Dr. Alan, by the way, from now on, Dr. Alan Listhaus, I want to see proof that all these people are part of the thing. Otherwise, I'm not mentioning all these names again. Dr. Michelle Nordlicht, Dr. Cindy Dobrinsky, thanks for the amazing shir. Some people listen for the emails, some people listen for the daf. As for me, I listen for them all. Where can you find the shir where the Magid shir is greater than Shalom Melech? Rebelli, Baruch Hashem is never Moichel's covered. I'm Moichel this one. Also, lest we forget, we need to bring back the daily poking of fun at Yeshua. I think I'm a kind that one. No? Poking? I'm pretty, not every day. Last week, 6 out of 7.
It's about the day. You know
Yeah, it's about the Yomi. It's about the Yomi, doctor. You're right. It's about the Yomi. You guys are the best. And Lzeicher Nishmas the Kedoshim from Visuel de Sus. I don't know how to pronounce this. In Visheve, region of Romania, Bekitzer, 27th year, the day they arrived in Auschwitz. May our Kehilla of Rabbi Eli's Daf Yomi be married for their Kehilla from the Kaufler, Kaplan, Tessler, Mandel and Wiesel families. Menashe Roth, the 77th Yartzeit of my grandmother's family. 3 different people sponsoring today, so I guess it's a big day. What is it today? Sunday, Chav Zayin. Okay. The 77th Yartzeit of my grandmother's family, Chaya bas Yitzchok Yaakov, Tziro bas Chaya, Yitzchok Yaakov ben Moshe Yosef, and their children, Hershel, Fega, Avram, Aaron, and Miriam, from the town of Batyu, Czechoslovakia. Today is the 42nd day in the Omer. Hayoim, Shnayim v'arbaim yoim, Shem Shisha Shavuos ba'Omer, or la'Omer. Rabbi Isai, right now, at this very moment, there's a tremendous show of Achdus in the 5 towns in New York. The Oilam got together, big Malava Malka there, sponsored by Mendy Greenblatt for Refuah Shleima for his good friend, Avram Yosef ben Yehudis. Yaakov Badner was a part of this. I didn't want to forget any names, so I wrote it down. Ben Schwartz, Hanan Aschendorf, who wrote me the email originally, Avi Sherman from his daughter's bakery, Eli Berman from Strauss Bakery. So Yishkoyach to everybody put it together. Tremendous show of Achdus. It's to get to know the Chevra on a whole different level. So Be'ezer Hashem, it should continue like this. We should do it in different places. And this is just the beginning. It's going to get bigger and better. Okay. A couple of emails here. Could somebody ask, I don't think, Pressman, Elchanan Pressman, is he in New York over there at that, Gary? Could somebody find out if Elchanan Pressman is in New York? Maybe we'll have him, or if he's on live, maybe we'll have him read his email to me, because I'm very shy. I don't want to read his email, Barabim. I don't want to turn colors. He's not there. Jamie Salmons. He's from Gimel? Jamie Salmons is from Gimel, he says. Okay. Dear Rebelli, I've been loving your shir and the whole experience of being part of the Chabura. I was eating out with my wife the other day, and she looked me in the eyes and told me that since I started with you, she has noticed a calmness in my whole demeanor. My kids love it when I come home in the morning with a geschmacke, good morning, Rabbi Isai. Anyway, I want to let you know that unfortunately my hand got crushed by a lawyer this morning. I will be in the hospital for the next week in a bit. I'll be being sure in person, but look forward to watching on Zoom. Kol Tuv, Jamie. Wow. Refuah Shleima. Should I read this one? It's funny. Okay, if he's not on, I'm going to read this. I hope I don't blush on this one. This is from Elchanan Pressman, the guy that presses me to do a Chumash shir. I updated the Reb Eli picture in my Good Morning Rabbi Isai picture frame, courtesy of Mordechai Ashkenazi, with the current Aram Merkaz headshot of Reb Eli. When I went to pick it up for my local Walgreens photo, the female, Eina Yehudi, and some other thing it says, I'm not going to read, who apparently processed the picture, handed me the envelope and said, "That man is very handsome. Is he anyone special?" I told her he's my rabbi. She then said, How's that possible? He doesn't even have one of those things. And she pointed to my yarmulke. Pleasing clothes, how they developed a picture. No idea how the yarmulke got cut off. Good vach. Oh, man. Good stuff. Oh, this is a good one. I got to read this one before I forget. I don't know what time it is, so we have plenty of time to do. From Stephen Suckerlaw in South Bend, Indiana. Hakar Satoif to him and his whole family who came special to my son's Vart in Chicago. Good morning, Rebellion Crew. I wanted to share something really special to me. My wife sent me the attached picture yesterday at work. My son Shruly, 13 years old, has been watching me do the daf with MDY since Nida. I also talk about the daf and things that Eli says at our table frequently. More recently, Shruly expressed the desire to start learning the daf. He started to learn with me, and when we started Yoma, our routine is usually when I come home from work, we start right away, and before the evening gets busy. Shruly was not feeling well the other evening and was unable to learn that daf that day. I told him Rebelli's advice, mark it and move on. Don't worry about it now. Without telling me or me prompting him, he did the daf before I got home from work on his own with MDY. I cannot be prouder of him. This is on top of doing the daf for that day. I have only Rebelli and the Chabur to thank for this. MDY continues to add such value into our lives. Thank you. Shruly is doing the daf on his own that he missed that day. Here he is. Shruly, call it. No round of applause for Shruly, Rabbi Sai. Shkoyach. Wow. Stake Choshev. All right. Here we go. Got a lot to learn today. We are holding on today's daf Chav Ches. And we're holding 2 lines from the bottom of daf Chav Zayin Amud Beis. Vikidamr. So Rabbi Yochanan says that Yisrael, who's Mesadeh de Maracha, he does one of these. Don't look at this guy, but he lines up the wood for the Maracha on the Mizbeach. Here we have this. Why not? Hold on a second. So let's say he has the Maracha. You missed this last night. We got this as a gift. I don't want to blind anybody here by mistake. Okay, this is the Maracha right here on the Mizbeach. He was Mesader that. He's Chayiv Misa B'dei Shomayim. So some people say the question on that was as follows. So there's 2 conditions that we said that in order to be Chayiv Misa, first of all, it has to be matana, has to be something that you deliver, you give, like zrika, like putting down wood, okay, that we were Chayiv. But the second condition is that it has to be the final act. Now, what's after this? After being Mesadeh de Maracha, there's also here in the picture, you see, he puts down 2 pieces of wood. So this is not the final act. This should be the final act of the wood on the Mizbeach, putting down the 2 pieces. Now, we're going to skip 5 lines, says Rashi. We have to skip 5 lines. Now, typically when we skip 5 lines, it's a big simcha for me. Big simcha. A little bit less to learn on the daf. Not today. Why? Because it brings back memories of shkalim. I have nightmares. Skip this, skip that, go backwards. I'd rather just learn it all now. Eli, itmar, hochi itmar. You literally go 5 lines. We're going to skip again soon. Rashi says it was just written here because of agavriyata. It just fits in with the lashon, and we're just continuing as if it's the same Gemara on Amud Beis. It doesn't make sense over here in this sugya. Eli, itmar, hochi itmar. And the Gaon also takes it out, if you see. Omar Abasi, Omar B'Yochanan. Zar shesider shnei gzirei, and what Rabbi Yochanan in fact said is something different. If Yisrael didn't do this part, he didn't do the whole Maracha, he did the final act. Now you don't have the question, but there's something afterwards. This is the final act. If he put the shnei gzirei, chayiv, says Rabbi Yochanan is chayiv misa b'dei shomayim. Why? Hayav avodat tamahi. Now it makes sense. It's the final act of putting up the wood. Now there might be other things. You put the karbanis on, but that's not the avodah of putting the wood on the mizbeach. The final avodah of the wood is to put the 2 pieces of wood on top of the fire when it's burning already. On that, maskiv l'rava, similar to what we had last night. If you learned the sugya last night, similar question, and there's going to be a question on the question. Maskiv l'rava l'me'ata t'boy payis. If it's such a beautiful avodah putting on this wood, so shouldn't it be a lottery just for putting on the 2 pieces of wood? So what do you do when you ask a question? You ask a question back. What do you mean? It does need a lottery. What we learned, there is a lottery for the 2 pieces of wood. The one who gets the Trumas Hadeshen, the lottery for that also includes the Shnei Gziri Eitzim. This question is, there should be a special lottery just for the 2 pieces of wood. Says Gemara, as we mentioned a few times, that there was a lottery for the Shnei Gziri Eitzim by itself, and there was a lottery for Trumas Hadeshen by itself. Baruch Hashem, we ran out of chairs. Unbelievable. We're getting there. We're slowly climbing back. There's 3 chairs in the front. No, but he's a big honor. He doesn't want to. Not everybody walks to the front in the middle chair. It's my brother. He's allowed to say whatever he wants. Yosef Herman. So we said already, okay, there was in fact, you're asking me, how come there's no lottery for the 2 pieces of wood? There was a lottery for 2 pieces of wood. What happened was, the lottery for the Trumas Hadeshen, there was a very low, what's the word? A very low show. The people, interest, people didn't show up to it. Turnout. Shkoyach, thank you. Wow. I was just telling somebody heard me talking in Yiddish to Kenning's father. So, what do you speak Yiddish? I said, I'm an Amaretz in 3 languages, literally. I'm no good in either of them, in all of them. Says the Gemara, that what? So, since the turnout was so weak in either one.
Either of the 3.
Either of the 3. And what did I say?
You said either of the 3. Either is 2, right?
So either is 2? Either is 2?
Yes, you just proved it very well, that's all.
I did it with Dafka. New York is the epic center of the world. Pun intended. I know. I said, why did I say New York is the epic center? What does that have to do with it? Because I say B'dafka, the Shalom Aritzis. It's another. After this picture over here, you have to. Where's that picture? Whatever. Okay. Fine. No. Time out. Okay, so let's just finish that teretz. There's the 2 Gizri Eitzim, there was a lottery, and there's a lottery for Trumas Hadeshen. The Trumas Hadeshen, there was a very low turnout, so they added to the Trumas Hadeshen the lottery, 1 lottery for 2 things, but in fact there were 2. So what's Rav asking? There should be a lottery for 2 pieces of wood? There was. We took it away to make the turnout greater for the Trumas Hadeshen. Next. So it's the same kasha that we had last night. And the guys in New York just had it, 30 minutes ago on 1.5 speed, Gishmak. So the Meimra, based on Rava's question, I have a question. What does Rava say? Rava says that the 2 pieces of wood should require a lottery. Why? Because Rava is assuming the 2 pieces of wood is the avodah tama. It's the completion of that avodah. Vizar chayv ala misa, and the fact that Yisrael, if he does the 2 pieces of wood, he's chayv misa, and he asks, so if so, there should be a lottery. So that means that you need these 2 conditions according to Rava. You need avodah tama and you need a zar chayiv misa. Misa b'ayapayas and zar chayiv ala misa lo b'ayapayas. In order to do the lottery, you need two conditions. V'arei shchita. That is shchita. You don't need a zar is not chayiv misa. You don't have the 2 conditions. If a Yisrael performs shchita, it's beautiful. Why not? Says the Gemara, like we said yesterday, Shani Shchito, the Tchilas Avodah, the Yomami, it's the beginning of the Avodah in the morning. Either, the way I understood it, is that it's a very important, it's the beginning, or there's a continuation. It goes into Kabbalah and Zrika. Okay. Now, again, we're going to skip 4 lines, the whole Lememra, and we go all the way, Omar Mazutra. So, Omar Mazutra, we just learned, like Rabbi Yochanan, and we're going to learn in a second. It's interesting because it's quoting a Mishnah that's literally in 5 lines from now, or less. We learned this idea of Rabbi Yochanan that the 2 pieces of wood is considered the avodah tama. It's considered the end of the avodah. It's the completion of the avodah, and not somewhere in the middle. Because I could think that maybe perhaps there's the meat that goes on top of the wood. So maybe the meat is part of it and it continues on. Says the Gemara, what do we see in a second? The one in charge is Gana Kohen, the deputy Kohen. He announces, he says, somebody go to the rooftop, to the wall, go check if the sun is coming up. Doesn't mention anything about go see if we could put the wood on the mizbeach. So you see that it's the completion of the night avodah, of doing the maracha, and not a new thing in the morning. So the Gemara, like we said yesterday, the reason that it's mentioned in the Mishnah, Zman Shchita, because if you shecht an animal at night, what's the halacha? Pasuk, how do I know? Because it says in the Pasuk, B'yoim zivchachem yeyacha. You have to do it in the daytime. Shchita is only in the day. So Memela, that's why I need to make sure that's day, that the sun is coming up. But the wood, let's say he makes a mistake and he puts the wood in the wrong time, it's not a good right. Perhaps you need daytime, but worst comes to worst. Somebody will come running and say, no, you were off by a few minutes. Okay, so you go back on the mizbech, you take the wood off, and you redo it. It's not the end of the world. That's why it's not mentioned in the Mishnah. Who's that tzaddik kid learning over there with his father on Zoom? I can't see his face. He's wearing a mask. He's trying not to get corona from his father. I don't have the pshat. They're in an office somewhere. Okay. Very good. Zok the Mishnah. Today's Mishnah, the official Mishnah, is sponsored for Schus Shidduch for Dvora Bas Gittel and for Dvora Basuri. Happy birthday to Ari. Happy birthday. What are you? Happy birthday. It was perfect timing. We didn't stop learning for it. We're at a break. We're at a break to begin with. Okay. Mazel Tov Ari. How old? The big 5-0. Oh. Not Barabim. It could be a busha. Give me something like new. Give me an eitzah. Let's go. That was it. Yeah. A book. Shmuck, tell the guy to come. We like those kind of guys. We'll set him straight once and for all. Okay, so we just learned it a second ago. It's great chazara. So this Gana Kohen, the deputy Kohen, he announces, we need to see if there's the time for shchita, could you be makriv the carbon tamid? Why? Because if you don't do the shchita on time, it's puzzle. And what do you do with the carbon? You burn it. Where do you burn it? Right over here in Deshen. There's a place over here that you burn kachim. Says the Mishnah, if you could see, you don't see the sun, but you see it's starting to get light on the horizon. So he says, Barkai, it's dawn. Masi ben Shmuel Omer, Heir, Pnei, Kol HaMizrach, Ache Bechevron. The Gemara is going to describe exactly who says what. The whole eastern sky is lit up until Chevron. It might be kedai to turn the page for a second. Daf Chof Ches Amud Beis. Rashi the Ramaskal, where Rashi typically is, on Chof Ches Amud Beis, Rashi's on both sides, there's no Taisvis. And you go like 8 lines down, and Rashi says, Umatzinu b'Talmud Yerushalmi, why do we say Chevron? What's Chevron? Why not Yerichai? I don't know what. It's in the east. Kedei lahaskir schus avos maskirim Chevron. Chevron isn't on purpose. It's deliberately said like that, so that Ben Schwartz. Happy birthday, Ben Schwartz. Happy birthday. Givaldik, the Chevron in the 5 towns. I hope they brought him a cake as well, and a balloon. So the reason why we say Chevron is, there's a reason for it. To remind HaKadosh Baruch Hu of Schus Avos, so we have more Schusim. V'hu, Oimer Hein. Who's V'hu? Who says yes? So we're gonna see in the Gemara. We can go both ways. The one on the top. It makes sense, the one on the top, right? But the Gemara says it might be the guy on the bottom. Why? Why do you have to put a guy on the roof? Because there was once a situation where they saw the moon and they thought it was the sun. And they did shechita incorrectly, and they had to burn this animal. And then they bring the Kohen Gadol, we're talking about Yom Kippur, they bring him down to be toivel. Zaklal b'mikdash. This is the rule. Kol ha-meisach es raglav ton tefillah. There's going to the bathroom. Now, there's ktanim. Ktanim requires kiddush yodayim v'raglayim. This is the Iyar. The Iyar is right over here. You can see there's a picture of the Iyar. There's a little well that they hide the Iyar overnight. They take it out and they do kiddush yodayim v'raglayim. That's for ktanim. What? Without socks. Why? Who had socks here? Of course without socks. You're not allowed to wear socks. Maybe some migdosh, your feet have to be on the stones. No, this one we don't need anymore. This is better. We'll return this. Yeah, I know. However, if he really relieves himself, so then he needs to go into the mikvah. Just for going to the bathroom, you go into the mikvah. And now we turn to Daf Chof Ches Amud Beis, sponsored for Schus of Shidduch for Shein Rochel Bas Avram Tzvi, Schus Shidduch for Esther Dvara Bas Leah Gittel and Dvara Basuri. You notice I don't say Schus Shidduch between these two because it's one sponsor. And a Schus, a refuah shleima for all the victims of Miron, and the Eli Neshama for all the Miron victims, and the Chama for all the Mishpachas, the Yisoimim. I don't know how many Yisoimim. Did anybody count? 50, 60? Is there a bathroom in the Visuel? Yeah, below. Below you had to have one. Not in the Azara, they went downstairs. Underneath, there's a bathroom. They had tunnels underneath, and then there's no Kedusha. Under the Azara, yeah. There's ways to get to the tunnels through these rooms. Remember, we learned about it. Kisa shel kavod. Tanya b'shmo loimer. Barak barkoi. So we have a few lashonos here. They mean a little bit different. The dawn has begun. Rebbe Akiva oimer Allah barkoi. The dawn has risen. Nechuma ben Apkashyon. I found this fascinating. He's mentioned once in Shas. He says 3 words and that's it. Halavai on any one of us. To be mentioned in Shas. What do you say? Nechuma ben Apkashyon oimer. Af barkoi b'chevron. The dawn is in Chevron already. It's unbelievable. You know what my father is? He said those 3 words in that Mishnah. It's unbelievable. Af barkoi b'chevron. Masi ben Shmuel oimer. Hamemuna ala payosas oimer. Heyer kol hamizroch atshe b'chevron. The one in charge of the lotteries, he says, Heyer pnei kol mizroch atshe b'chevron. And we're going to see in the Gemara exactly later on what's going on. Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir oimer, Heyer pnei kol hamizroch atshe b'chevron. V'yatzu kol ha'ab ish le'melachtoi. It's lit up that people are already going to work. People are going to work, so it's really light. So I need somebody to go onto the roof to tell me that it's light. I mean, if people are going to work, then everybody knows. You can see in the sky that it's light. Says the Gemara, you're right. It's to get workers. I don't know. They have it here in Eretz Yisrael. You know, they have like Arabs on the corner, so they have that also everywhere. They had it back there. Home Depot. I tell you, Maiso, in 2005, when I bought my property in Indianapolis, properties, I had a Nace Nigla. So I don't know if I ever said this, Maiso. Nace. A few months later, maybe it was 2006, all of a sudden, hail came flying down. Did I tell you guys this? They said, I didn't see it. They said it was the size of between golf balls and baseballs. Never happened again. Somewhere in 2006, the beginning, literally a few months after I bought the properties, it damaged maybe 100 buildings. 100 buildings. The biggest nace that I ever had, not the biggest, but a big nace because I just bought these properties. One of the biggest expenses to replace the roof. So the insurance gave me a few $1 million to do the roofs. So I was like, big chacham that I am, I'm very into renovating, and I had crews for renovation. It's like, I'll do it myself. I'll just make my own crew. So I went down to the streets of Indianapolis to where the Home Depot's over there, and there's 50 whatever guys over there. And I said, what are you good at? And everybody's like, drywall. Kids said, no, but until I found a guy that would tell me the truth that he's good at roofs. Okay, so you come with me. Then everybody became, no, I also do roofs. What do you mean, roofs? Kids, fine. Put a whole crew together. I bought all the equipment. I even bought one of these elevator machines that takes the shingles up to the roof, the whole thing, and guns and the compressors. And we started doing roofs. And then we realized that we don't know what we're doing, and it was leaking, and my company went bye-bye. I still have all this equipment somewhere. And I gave it to a guy in Chicago, Champion Roofing. But Lamais is a tremendous nace. I'm just thinking about it because I had to go pick up these guys early in the morning before somebody else hopped them. What? There's a lot of money. When the insurance just gives you a big check and it costs you half of that, and the nace says that these are brand new roofs. They're still there till this day. I never had any issues with over 100 buildings. I bought it and somebody paid me to do all my roofs. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me a matana. It's an unbelievable matana. Omer of Safra, Tzloised Avram. We have to say this. We have to say the joke, even though everybody knows the joke. We have to. It's Mam Shechiyov. There's 3 Jews sitting around the table, and one Jew said, "You're not going to believe it." I'll say it now with this mic. Okay, I'll change the joke. You're not going to believe it. I had a fire in my building, and the whole building went down, and the insurance paid me double what it cost me. He's like, wow, unbelievable. But I have a much better story. I bought a building, and then I had a big flood, and I had to change everything, and the insurance paid me triple than what I paid. Unbelievable. Said Eli Stefansky, and I bought a building, and all of a sudden big hail came, and they paid me 4 times what I paid. And they all turned around to Eli and said, how do you make hail? Shalom. Omer of Safra, it's listed Avram. What tefillah did Avram make? Anybody? Shachris, listed Avram, Mincha, which is Avram's tefillah. Miki, Mishachri Kusli. No, you are right. Avram's tefillah is Shachris, but the Gemara calls it Mincha. So it takes the Shanim, if you look over here. There's 2 Pshatim. One of them is that he actually used to daven Mincha. Just Yitzchok, he was misakin it. But it's his tefillah, or anything that the others do is theirs. Okay, this is Avram's. Miki, Mashcher Kusli. If the sun is directly above head, that means noon, exactly at noon. So the top of the wall creates a shadow on the wall. The wall appears as if it's dark. Omer Rav Yosef, Anan, Ma'avram, Nekum, V'nigmar. What we're going to learn things from the Heilige Avram Avinu, that he was the famous Zarez, got up always early. So we also have to do exactly what he did. He's special. Omer Rav Tana Gomer Ma'avram, Anan, Ligamrin. What do you mean? Yeah, we learn from Avram. How do we know? The Sanyu of Ayay Bashmina Yima B'Sar Lasai. On the 8th day, you do a bris milah. Melamed shekol alayoyin kosher lemilah. You could do it all day, the 8th day. Ella shazrizi magdim lemitzvos. You're supposed to do it as early as possible. Why? Because you learn from Avram. Shenem avayashkim Avram baboyke v'yachish chamoyre. Finished. Ella. All right, there's plenty of time. If I ask somebody here, should you wake up your child at 4 a.m. to do a chayes, kaparis? Yeah. Most people say, no way. You don't wake up a kid in the middle of the night. That's good. You have a mishigas in your head, fine. So I want to tell you, b'didi have uvda, for me, my father used to wake us up all the time 4 a.m. And I think it's a great thing. I don't remember being a child and saying, wow, I was excited. He said, kaparis, we're going to go 4 a.m. And he made a whole matzav out of it. And we went and we got in the car. All these things, kaparas and whatever it was, 4 a.m. is not a big deal. So I think fakert, it instills your shamayim. Not for me, but for my siblings. I see they mamish, they have. This thing is zriz magdimim. What the laziness? This Americanish stuff. Oh no, let the kids sleep. No, get them out of bed. Show them what it is to be excited for a mitzvah. He took everybody with him. It was a whole matzav. Elo amaravo. Rav Yosef Hokakashile. This nan chol arvei psachim leis ber Shabbos, right? We learned Masechtas Psachim. So if Erev Pesach falls out on a Friday. So when do you bring the tamid, the carbon tamid? Because there's so much to do that day. There's so many korbanos and so much. Everybody's bringing the carbon Pesach. Millions of korbani Pesach. So you bring it nishcha b'sheishu mechza. Instead of at 12:30, let's call it 12:30, a half hour after noon. There's noon, 12 o'clock. You bring it a little earlier. Nishcha b'sheishu mechza. What? 7.5, I think. Yeah, but a typical day, 7.5, which means 12:30. So you bring it b'sheish umechza. But why can't we just bring it exactly at noon? Why 12:30? Why do we have to wait until 12:30? Says Gemara, my kushya. If we're going to learn from Avraham Avinu that 12 exactly noon, when the walls become black, that's where everything, the time changes. So let's do it there. But Avraham is different. My kushya of the Beis Hamikdash If you ever went to the Kaisel, Beis Hashem Rabbi, we're going to the Kaisel this Friday. Please sign up. We need to know how much food to order, etc. How big the bus should be. What? It's the sign-ups in the group and etc. Yeah. If you look at the Kaisel, if you ever went to the Kaisel, you'll notice that every stone is slightly smaller than the stone below it. There's a little bit of an indentation. You can actually see the indentation. By the time you get to the top, it's much narrower on the top. So I'm assuming that's how they built in those days, and that's what the Gemara is saying, that in the Beis Hamikdash, the walls were like that. It makes sense. They shouldn't be exactly straight, they're going to topple over. So each stone is slightly smaller than the other. So for the top of the wall to cast a shadow on the bottom part of the wall, it's going to take a lot longer because the bottom of the wall is wider than the top. If it's the same size, okay, then it could cast a shadow at noon. But since it's what's the word in English? Trapeze, whatever. There's a word, no? Who? Trapezoid. Is that what this is? No. Okay, something else. No, it's something else. In Panovich, you said trapezoid. You guys can use whatever word you want. It is a trapezoid. Schmuck. So anyway, it takes longer than noon. So that's why we didn't. You can't tell in the Beis Hamikdash. You're not going to go based on the shadow. Gave it an extra half hour. Says the Gemara. Inami Shani Avram. That the pasuk says, "Vashem berach is Avraham bakoil." Rashi brings. What's bakoil? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him a bracha that he was he knew astrology. He was great in this stuff. And Memela, he knew exactly when it was, but we don't know as well as him, so we have to add a half hour. Inami mishum the zaken the Yoshev b'yeshiva hava. He was a zaken. Now, what does zaken mean? So look at this pasuk. This will explain the whole sugya. It's not a big deal. It says in the pasuk, "Pnei seva takum." You have to stand up for an elder person. And then the pasuk says, "V'adarta pnei zaken." Why is the Torah repeating itself? Zaken means zekana. Zaken is referring to a Talmud Chacham. So any time from now on, the Torah says zaken, because it says seva right before, zaken means something else. Zaken means a Talmud Chacham. A big Talmud Chacham, somebody was koina, zekana is koina Torah. So he said, the zaken v'yoshev b'yeshiva hava. He knew his stuff. Now it makes sense what the kasha before was. It makes even more sense. What we're going to learn from Avraham Avinu? We cannot learn from Avraham Avinu. He's a zaken. He's an astrologer. He's different than us. How are we going to learn from Avraham Avinu? All throughout history, back in the day, they always had a yeshiva and they were learning Torah. When they were Mitzrayim, yeshiva, they had a yeshiva. Shenemar lechva safta is zikna Yisrael. Now we know that the word zaken means Talmud Chacham. So what does zikna mean? Go get the Talmud Chachamim. Midbar yeshiva imayim. When they were in the Midbar, they had a yeshiva. Shenemar esveli shivim ish mizikna Yisrael. Once again, zikna over here means Talmud Chachamim. Avraham Avinu zaken v'yoshev yeshiva haya. Avraham Avinu was a Talmud Chacham and he sat in yeshiva. Shenemar v'Avram zaken bo bayamim. Zaken. Yitzchok Avinu zaken v'yoshev yeshiva haya. Yitzchok was also a Talmud Chacham. He learned in yeshiva. Shenemar vayihi kizokin Yitzchok. Okay, Zokin, he was a Talmud Chacham. Yaakov Avinu, Zokin Yoshe B'Shivaya. Same for Yaakov Avinu. All Davids. Shenemar ve'eni Yisrael kavdu mizokin. Unbelievable. From the amount of Torah that he learned, from straining his eyes, he started losing his eyesight. Mizokin means from learning Torah. We always understood his eyesight was going because he's getting older. That's not what happened. It was from learning Torah. Eliezer Eved Avram, Zaken Yoshe B'Yeshiva Haya, was also a Zaken, he also learned in Yeshiva. Shenemar V'Yev Avram El Avdoi Zikan Beisoi, not the elder of his house, but the Talmud Chacham of his house. HaMoshel B'Chol HaShaloi. What does it mean? Omer Rebbe Lazar Shemoshel B'Toyres Rabbi. He, what's the word? No.
What do you want to say?
Yeah, like those words, like he mastered. Thank you. He mastered his Rebbe's Torah. Who? Damesek Eliezer. It says in the Pasuk Damesek. So the Gemara says it's two words. Damesek. Omer Rebbe Lazar Shedoila. Dalid is doila. He draws from a well. Umashke metoirasai. Mesek is mashka. So he draws doila mesek, and then he gives it over, and he waters the others with his Rebbe's Torah. Shedoila mashke metoirasai sherabai la'acherim. Right? What's this word damesek? Where else in the Torah do we have this word? What does it mean? So it's actually two words, combination of two words. His Rebbe told him to do so. That's what you're saying? That, yeah. Get the nations involved. Yeah. Famous Gemara. Amarav Kiyam Avram Avinu Kol HaTorah Kula. Avram Avinu kept the entire Torah that we know of today, including the Rabbanans. Shenemar Ekev Asher Shama Avram Bekoili. And we obviously have to do the rest of the pasuk because the Gemara says so, especially, no? Yeah, the Goimer. So this is what the Gemara brings, the blue. Vayishmar mishmarti mitzvaysai chukoysai v'soyrosoi. What does that mean? He kept the mitzvahs, the chukim, the Torahs, everything. Omar le Rav Shimi bar Chiyah Rav ve'ima sheva mitzvahs. Maybe it means that he kept the 7 mitzvahs, which doesn't really fit in. There's 3 words to describe 7 mitzvahs. It's kind of heavy. Mila. Well, Mila is not from the Sheva mitzvahs v'neyach, and he kept it. Ve'ima Sheva mitzvahs u'Mila. Okay. Amalei imkei mitzvahsai v'soyrosoi lamali. Just say Vayishmar mishmarti. Whatever I told him, the 7 mitzvahs. What do I have to go into all this? Omar. Who's the Dalit over here? What? Rava. Tzarech lemer Rava. Omar Rava. Midem Rav Ashi. Kiyam Avram Avinu afilu eruvei tafshilin. If you have Shabbos that falls after Yontif, midaraisa, you're allowed to cook on Yontif, just like you're allowed to cook today for Yontif. I could cook for tomorrow for Shabbos. But the Rabbanan said no, you have to make a erev tafshilin. So Avram Avinu is makbid on this D'Rabbanan. That's a pure D'Rabbanan. It's not a D'Rabbanan. It's not a Halacha Moshe Sinai or HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu on Sinai. This is something Chachamim invented many years later, and he was Mekayim it. Shenemar Torah Soy, which is plural. The 2 Torahs? No. But there's Achas Torah Shebiksav, the Achas Torah Shebal Peh. Yes, there are 2 types of Torahs. Usually we say Torah Shebal Peh means what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Bal Peh to Moshe Rabbeinu, and here's even the next step. The Chachamim invented. So this is an answer to those who say, how did Chacham have the right and why? Gzeres, who gave them? Avram Avinu kept it also. Not only did he keep it, he kept it before they made those Gzeres. I'm now thinking, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but maybe that it's deeper than what we think. In other words, the Torah, it's not a Gzera. Avram wasn't worried about the Gzera Chachamim, but because Chacham made it because of Gzera, but it's part of the Torah, so to speak. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's Torah. It's part. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually wanted. It just came about through a Gzeira of Chachamim. Maybe. I'm just ignore what I just said. Masi ben Shmuel Omer. Hu Omer hein. So what happened? What did he say?
Nothing with that.
Nothing. Shmak. This I did last second. I hope you can understand it. It's pretty simple. If you look, these are the words that it says in the Mishnah. Heir Mizrach at Chevron Ken. There's three. You could break it up into three statements. Now, who exactly said it? So the Gemara is going to give us four options. Is it the guy on the ground? I called him Eretz. I had no, because it's just small and short, and it was already 7 o'clock. The guy on the ground or the guy on the roof said. So the guy on the ground said, "Hey Mizrach," he's asking a question. "Hey Mizrach, hey you on the roof, hey Mizrach," and the guy on the roof says, "At Chevron, Ken," which is, why would a guy say Ken on himself? He say, "Hein, yeah, it's until Chevron, yes." Doesn't fit so well. That's the Gemara's kasha. And then the other option is the guy on the roof says, "Hey Mizrach, you should know there's light out there." So the guy on the ground says, and then he goes, "Not only that, it's until Chevron," and the guy on the ground says, "Ken." Also shver. And then finally, Gemara gives us two statements that could make sense. The guy on the roof says, "Hey, Mizrach, it's light." The guy on the ground asks him a question. This makes a lot of sense. At Chevron? Ken. Okay, now it makes sense. 1, 2, 3, it's a conversation. Hey, Mizrach. The guy on the ground says, "Until where? Until Chevron?" He says, "Yes." Or the guy on the ground goes, "Hey, Mizrach." And the guy on the roof says, "Yes, until Chevron." And the guy on the ground says, "Ken." Okay, that's exactly what I want to hear. Yishkoyach, thank you. Ken is like, okay, the end of the conversation. These are the two options the Gemara gives us at the end that make a lot of sense. Let's just go through it. Who's saying yes? If it's the guy on the roof, beautiful lashon. He has a dream and he interprets his own dream. He answers his own question. Here, the guy on the ground says, "Hey, Mizrach, yeah, it's until Chevron." Oh yeah, very good, until Chevron. Shkoyach, yeah, it's saying good. It's not, doesn't work. So it's the guy on the ground. So what happened? The guy on the rooftop says, "Hey, Mizrach," and then he says, "Not only Hey Mizrach, it's until Chevron." And the guy on the ground says, "Yeah, you're right. Thumbs up. It's until," but he doesn't know. He's not on the roof. How does he know when to Chevron? I could explain it in both ways. It's either the guy on the roof said Hein, or the guy on the ground said Hein. What happened? The guy on the roof said, "Omar Iyu." The guy on the roof said, "Hey, I'm telling you, Rabbi Sai, there's light on the whole horizon, the eastern horizon." This mamish sounds great. The guy on the ground asked him, "Yeah, it's lit up in the east, but is it all the way to Chevron? To the schus avos of Chevron?" I don't want to tell Tomer Levi, who it's his idea that we should go to the Kaisel, because I said that I wasn't in the Kaisel like a year and a half. I'm not going to tell you how many years, it must be 10 more, that I haven't been to Chevron. And we're not doing a shir in Chevron anytime soon. And he answers, yes, it went all the way to Chevron. The guy that says yes is the guy on the ground. So what happened? The guy on the ground says, "Is it all lit up in the east?" And the guy on the rooftop answers him beautifully. This almost makes, his answer makes a little bit more sense now. I'll tell you how light it is. It's all the way to Chevron. Hein. This is a little shver. Hein means shkoyach. That's what I want to know. Thank you. And Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Shem Alois Mamakim Putzikadi Noi. Adonai Shema Makalim Yezok Kishpois Lekot Echonoi. Yoma Benet Shmo Yad Adonai Yamoid. Faz Chalmat Tibulei. Mizan Gibson Amshid Vor Polti. Ashnadim Shimon Boyke Shimon Boyke.
Chevron's easy to get.
Huh?
Chevron's easy to get. It's not.
Hold on. אחרי גם בסיסו הנצלו בצור ושיבי רואים בין ביום ובין ביום שעמוק מרחלים ויצאים מצור לבחר ומפעד הרגע בשביל להשתוק. This is my career and my amen. It's easy to get to, but you need security, you need this, you need that, no?
If you drive from Christian
Chevron's a headache.
Yeah. The main highway is one of the most highly traveled highways.
Chevron's like a headache.
I know, but once you get there, no?
Do your share, Chevron. It's gonna happen.
I don't know.
You know what? When Eli Stefansky comes there, just will go to Chevron.
Good morning.
When was the last time you went, Ari? Oh yeah? Mazdov. Why is it embarrassing? The big 5-0.
There's a big oil I'm going to Kehilla Yosef Tzaddik today.
It's a thought.
Yeah. Hey, what do you say we should go to Shechem? We should go to Yosef Tzaddik in Shechem.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I'll send him.
David
will send you tomorrow morning, and if you make it back, then we'll know.
The next line.
I just was speaking on Shabbos. Shabbos, as you said to be so. A lot of people normally go on you said to be so. I was speaking to a few Bresler. He told me he goes in the whole time.
Actually, so Lord doesn't talk about that. I saw that the
without a car, they walk in.
So it can't be on Yom Kippur.
Crazy.
This story because of the position.
Send them on a bus to Kehilla.
So that story didn't. Whatever.
It's not dangerous to go on the organized buses. Nothing wrong. They go with like hundreds of soldiers.
Every single time they go, something happens. Every single time.
It's never dangerous.
In the buses? What are you talking about?
Every single time the soldiers run into trouble. Every single time.
Like what?
Yeah.
Rocks and all kinds of Molotov cocktails or whatever. Every single time.
Only 50 on Zoom.
What do you mean? They go with hundreds of soldiers ready to shoot.
They still run into trouble. That's why they're going with that many soldiers.
How many were on YouTube?
It's not true.
Okay.
It's simply not true, gentlemen. Not the truth.
Okay, Barachal. But there's no place to make a share there.
Yeah,
what?
I was just speaking of Shabbos. He told me how many times he goes in. He goes in without an organized.
That's not a bad idea.
Bus or security. He's crazy, but they do it the whole time.
Can you hear us?
And what are we gonna do about food?
No, he can't.
It's not a bad idea.
The Dafka telling the Dafka is a massive place to do a shear in Kevarach.
No, it's late.
Kevarach.
Arabella, can you hear us?
I don't see.
Oh, there's the 5 towns Kevarach.
No, but it's not up.
Well, they made the 5 towns Chevra made him love Marco. What's going on?
It's all this man. Yeah, Bob, we're waiting for you.
They're waiting for you. David Hoch has it.
Something's wrong.
See that Mark Ashkenazi? Well, he went all the way to 5 towns.
So weird.
Yeah.
He's busy. He's talking.
Good Tavach, Mark Ashkenazi.
David, how are you?
Well, Hashem, well, you drove all the way from Monsey to the 5 towns?
No, this guy's insane.
Huh?
Ellie.
Yeah.
Drive back there, Mordechai.
I'm taking you to Hebron.
Special. Taking me to Hebron. Happy birthday, Ben.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's 5 towns is BYOB. You bring your own balloons. I was jealous. How come you going?
Hey, what was the turnout in the 5 towns for Malav and Malka?
75 million.
Get a picture before everybody goes. Right. The guys are leaving. Probably close to 30 guys. Yeah.
30 guys. Nishlech. You know what you have to do is don't give them food. They'll come. They're scared of the food.
That's all. We have Yeshua's coming by to pick up the leftovers.
We should tell everybody the rebellion was here.
That's right. Yeah.
We got 75 people.
We should have got a picture before everybody left. Oh, good.
Yeah. How are you? Avi Sherman. Yeah, who's that next to you? I see Akiva.
He's coming.
Oh, that's the partner. Who's that?
Yeah.
Oh, so
I arranged it all.
I know. Goya, thank you. This little mitzvah is beautiful.
Introduce everybody. Come on, let me see.
5 towns.
Hang on a minute.
Wait, obviously, he really thought you were here.
What do you think or no way?
No, you can't cross Golda. I took Israel, then I'm trying to cross Golda. I couldn't. Literally, I sat there.
Ellie.
Ellie.
Sure, police doing some sort of stupidity.
And then coming back, I couldn't get down.
I don't see. It's not clear, Rabbi Yisrael.
Huh?
You should meet her today?
Oh, Berkai. Berkai.
The tallest, it's the tallest street. In whole thing.
Israel, we missed you.
Tallest street. From there they saw the whole sunrise.
Israel, we missed you. Where were you?
Mr. Goldstein.
I was in a Jersey. Just came home now.
What? You didn't come to say hi?
I was in Linden, New Jersey.
That's where my in-laws live.
In Linden?
My wife grew up in Linden. Yes, my father-in-law was the chazan in that shul.
I can't believe you didn't say
Well, it wasn't that shul because now Hasidim took over Linden. 180 Hasidim live there now.
I am aware my in-laws are actively trying to sell their house to one of them so they can finish making aliyah.
Were you jealous of that day?
Yeah, I like the way he finished off that sentence. So they can make aliyah because they want to get out of there. The Scharim are coming into the neighborhood.
Or 3 out of their 4 children live here in Israel, and 5 out of their 6 grandchildren. You can read whichever set of interpretations you wish.
Hey, Eli. Avi, you put it down very well. It's like very professional.
If my father-in-law ever needs another kidney, the kidney is here, not in America. So.
That's for solemn.
No joke. The surgeon said to my wife, like, you can only do this once. And she goes, of course. They said you'd be surprised how many people come back and like, wow, the recovery wasn't that bad. When can I do this again?
It sounds like he's talking.
Ben, happy birthday.
Who's donating a kidney?
My wife gave my father-in-law a kidney a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Can't go back.
Wow.
Hold on. Do you guys see? Shmuley Leonard's brother's on. Looks like.
I know, but where's Shmuley? I was looking out for Shmuley the other day.
He's a mini Shmuley.
Yeah.
I think Shmuley's biking to the 5 towns.
Shua Lema, where's your brother? Where's Shmuley?
He's on his way home from Baltimore.
Oh, right.
Tell him. I sent him an email. Tell him to email me back.
All right, I gotta go drive a kid to school. Have a wonderful day, everybody. See y'all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Take your camera, flip it around. You're able to show what it looks like over there.
Ellie, did you get the picture?
Oh yeah, I did. Chaim, what's his name? Something Stefansky.
Yitzchok.
That's Queen.
Now you remember him, right?
I don't know him. I don't think I've ever seen him.
How could you not know him?
The very large mishpacha.
How big is the mishpacha?
Huh?
How big is
Ellie,
the
we have
mishpacha?
Ellie.
I don't know. I never counted.
Ellie,
Yeah.
say hello to Cantor Carmen.
Oh, Assalamu alaikum.
I was live a few times during the beginning of Corona because I was home.
Okay, Ravelli.
Yeah.
This is Cantor Carmen. Cantor Carmen, a new joinee.
I see. Assalamu alaikum. How you doing?
Send him my regards,
All right, Baruch Hashem. How are you?
Beautiful.
He came from Queens and Borough Park.
I came from Queens. I go back. I go to Queens.
All right, base measures over there. What base measures is that? The one I did this year in the morning? Yeah, I don't recognize it. No, that's not it. That has a massive.
Who's different show? We're doing a class picture now. Hold on 1 second. Rabbi Feitman.
Mark, tell the guys, the Bezer Hashem, the class picture.
Hold on 1 second.
On the wall in MDY. You have to smile nicely.
Your iPad.
Hey, Ellie. What
were you saying, Ellie? It's good.
I said you should tell them they have to smile nicely for the class picture because it's going to end up blown up on the MDY wall.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, we'll see. We didn't have Yisrael Goldstein here to take the picture professionally.
Right.
So,
you better get Goldstein there.
What do you mean? We had Yisrael Goldstein, professional.
Yeah, what
well,
time
we,
is soccer?
we try to get Yisrael Goldstein to come, but he want to. Ellie, look, his bagel. got bagels. We got sushi. Two of them are
Oh,
young.
Valley,
What's that mizbeach?
Yeah, the challahs, fancy challahs. All these fancy challahs. They look like cake.
Valley, I walked into shul this morning, into a real Hasidic shul with my Reute Gemara. I sit down there, I'm learning, and a guy comes over to me and says, oh, where's your Aramekas? A Bubbe Vingema. How do you know? 1 minute, he goes to the back, takes out of his coat the print of Aramekas.
Really?
I see on the sheet, I said, who are you? He gives me his name. I know his father's brother. I was thinking him on. And he prints out every week the Aramekas. A Bubbe Vingema sits on the Daf Yomi every day.
Yisrael, you know you're going to become famous. They showed me an article, the next ad for Shavuos.
Yes.
Got it already?
One second. What are you saying?
I can't give it out yet.
I got to go diving, Rabbi. I got to go diving.
Yeah, great.
So that's a similar story.
Guys in New York, the best guys ever.
It's a beautiful thing. Bezer Hashem. You hear Moshe Hersh? You get nachas. Above the cost is printed out your thing. Unbelievable. All right.
Yeah, Thomas. Why I didn't have it.
Rabbi Goldstein, I'm very sad that you're there. I wish you were with them.
Ellie, he thought you were
first.
So he came on time. He didn't join at the end. He thought you were going to be here. There's
Amir just said next time in Borough Park or wherever it is.
All right, guys, I gotta run.
Shabbos Mavarkim, unbelievable. You guys are the best ever. Way better than all of us that come to this live share. Wow. Happy birthday, Benjamin Schwartz. You guys are the best. Mark, I don't believe it. You guys are the best in the world.
Hold on, Yeshua. You can sing to him yourself.
Good night, people.
Yeshua, yeah. Birthday boy. Where's Yeshua?
Thanks, Yeshua. You back on Zoom? I went all year for this.
Yeshua, come on, sing it for him. Get it, boys.
But it has to be in English. I don't know Hebrew.
Ellie Dykeman, they were asking about you.
I missed you, Ellie.
Guys missed you. Shalitsky, no.
Yeshua is the best Magacheer in the world. He's the best Magacheer in the world.
Zoom bomb him.
He's
got air.
Yeah. Yeshua is the best coffee guy ever. Today's coffee was a little Today's coffee was schwach, but you should know he's good.
Who sponsored the coffee today?
Halavai. Ellie gave a good cheer today. Halavai, he gave a good cheer.
Yeshua, you guys sing
happy birthday, Pinyav, and happy birthday. I'm sorry I'm not there. I couldn't get your cake.
No song?
No, happy
birthday to you.
Now we're talking.
Take off mute. Sing it. Don't be shy.
I can't go in the middle of a smedrish.
Happy birthday. Look at my house for this. Happy birthday to Ben.
Yeshua, go wake up the kids. Go wake up the kids. 4 o'clock in the morning.
Dear Ben.
All right, everybody's sleeping in your house.
Were.
They were. Right.
Also, gute Woche. Mazel tov, Ben.
Happy birthday, Mama. Mazel tov, Mazel
tov. Ben, you can rent the Hersh now.
We got some party.
These guys are crazy here in the Daf.
I wonder where it comes from.
I'm so proud of you guys for all coming. Mama should change the world. Ellie said only 3 people are gonna come. What are you doing? You guys proved him wrong. You guys are the best in the world.
Yeah, there are 4 of us.
All right.
Thank you. Guys.
Hey.
Have a good day.
The Panthers coming there.